Are you setting yourself on fire to keep others warm? When will you stop giving everything to people who won't even hand you a bandage? You give and give and give. You stretch yourself so thin that you're practically see-through. You cancel your plans, ignore your exhaustion, swallow your words, and smile through the pain because you think that's what makes you good. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You're not helping anyone by destroying yourself. You're just teaching people that your needs don't matter. How many more nights will you lie awake, replaying conversations where you said yes when everything in you screamed no? How much longer will you carry the weight of everyone else's problems while your own dreams collect dust? You keep giving everything you have to keep others comfortable, and they're not even noticing the cost. The phrase setting yourself on fire to keep others warm cuts deep because it captures a painful reality millions face daily. Sacrificing your own well-being to please, fix, or save everyone around you. What starts as kindness morphs into a suffocating pattern where your identity dissolves, your boundaries crumble, and your emotional reserves run bone dry. People-pleasing isn't selflessness, it's self-destruction dressed up as virtue. Research shows that 49% of Americans self-identify as people-pleasers, with women 56% more likely than men 42% to describe themselves this way. Even more striking is that 92% of people admit to doing at least one people-pleasing behavior somewhat or very often, meaning nearly everyone struggles with this pattern to some degree. When people-pleasing behavior was studied, researchers found a significant negative correlation with perceived social support, meaning the more you sacrifice yourself, the less supported you actually feel. You're pouring from an empty cup into cups that never fill. So, what does this actually look like in your daily life? Self-sacrifice wears many masks, and most people don't recognize they're wearing one until they're completely depleted. The pattern shows up as an excessive reliance on others' validation, approval, and needs, always at your own expense. You become the eternal fixer, the emotional sponge, the person who says, "I'm fine," while crumbling inside. People who constantly put others first exhibit specific behaviors that become their default operating system. They overcommit constantly, taking on responsibilities far beyond their capacity because saying no feels impossible. They feel responsible for managing everyone else's emotions, stepping in to smooth over tensions, interpret misunderstandings, or prevent anyone from feeling uncomfortable, even when nobody asked for their intervention. Their own feelings get suppressed or dismissed entirely to maintain harmony and avoid conflict. Here's what it actually looks like. You know how your coworkers keep asking you to cover their shifts or finish their projects, and you just say yes, even though it completely wrecks your own schedule? That's it. You had plans, maybe a workout class you paid for, or just one evening to yourself, but you cancel because someone else really needs you. And you're not alone in this. You see, about 78% of employees experience boundary issues between work and personal life, and 54% of people experiencing burnout cite lack of boundaries as a primary cause. Self-sacrifice could also be the family member who constantly asks to borrow money that never gets repaid, but you keep lending it because you're afraid of disappointing them or causing conflict. Or the friend who only reaches out when they need something, a ride, a favor, free babysitting, help moving, but mysteriously disappears when you need support. It could be that you're the one who plans every gathering, remembers every birthday, checks in on everyone, and makes sure nobody feels left out. But when you're struggling, when you need someone to show up for you, crickets. And somehow you've convinced yourself that's just how it is, that you need to give, that people need you. You apologize constantly, even for things that aren't your fault. Someone bumps into you, you say sorry. Someone misunderstands your clear instructions, you apologize for their confusion. If you can't attend an event you were never obligated to attend, you write a 3-paragraph explanation justifying why you can't be there. You have zero personal time because your calendar is packed with everyone else's priorities. You agreed to help your neighbor move, volunteer for that committee, drive someone to the airport, edit your cousin's resume, and somehow also promised to bake for the school fundraiser, all while your own projects sit untouched and your personal goals get pushed further away. You pretend to agree with people even when you feel completely different. Your family makes a comment you find offensive, you stay silent to keep the peace. Someone asks your opinion and you pause, reading their face first before shaping your opinion to match what they want to hear. The approval seeking becomes an addiction. You need external validation, basing your entire self-worth on whether others are happy with you. Your identity shrinks until you can't remember what you actually want, need, or believe, because you've spent years morphing into whatever keeps others comfortable. Let's dissect this problem, shall we? Where does this pattern come from, and why can't you just stop? Nobody wakes up one day and decides to become a people pleaser. This pattern embeds itself deep in childhood, usually as a survival mechanism in environments where safety and love felt conditional or unpredictable. When children grow up receiving affection only when they meet certain expectations, perform well, or behave perfectly, they internalize a devastating belief: love must be earned through performance. When parents only showed warmth after achievements, only hugged when the child was good, or withdrew affection as punishment, that child learns their value depends on constantly meeting others' standards. Emotional neglect teaches children their feelings don't matter. If you grew up hearing "stop crying," "you're too sensitive," or "that's nothing to be upset about," you learned to silence your needs and focus exclusively on managing everyone else's emotions instead. Criticism and harsh judgment condition them to silence their needs and anticipate everyone else's to avoid punishment or rejection. More severe trauma amplifies this pattern. Children who witness domestic violence often become hyper-vigilant people pleasers, desperately trying to maintain peace and diffuse potentially violent situations. Those raised by parents struggling with addiction or mental illness learn to manage the parents' unpredictable behavior through caretaking and people-pleasing. Enmeshed family dynamics, where boundaries between parent and child blur completely, create adults who feel responsible for everyone's emotional well-being except their own. Here's how your brain gets wired. The brain gets wired during these formative years. Your reward system, involving the prefrontal cortex, insula, and limbic regions, activate when you receive approval. Dopamine floods your system when someone validates you, creating a biochemical reinforcement loop that makes people-pleasing feel temporarily good, even as it destroys you long-term. The amygdala becomes hypersensitive, perceiving potential rejection as genuine threat, and triggering fight or flight responses in ambiguous social situations. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-regulation and boundary setting, weakens, making healthy assertiveness feel impossible. Psychological mechanisms solidify the pattern. Insecure attachment styles develop, creating anxious adults who believe they must earn love through constant service. Learned helplessness sets in. Repeated exposure to uncontrollable stressors teaches you that nothing you do for yourself matters, so you might as well focus on controlling how others perceive you. Fear of rejection becomes the invisible puppeteer, pulling your strings, making you agree to things that harm you rather than risk someone leaving. If you're recognizing yourself in these patterns and want to understand the deeper roots, Melody Beattie's Codependent No More breaks down exactly how these cycles form and persist. It's been helping people for decades because it doesn't just explain the problem, it shows you the way out.
Okay, now let's look at the real cost of always putting everyone else first. The toll of perpetual self-sacrifice ravages every dimension of your life, often invisibly until the damage becomes undeniable. First is the emotional damage. Emotionally, you hollow out. Chronic anxiety becomes your baseline as you constantly monitor everyone's moods and needs while yours get ignored. You wake up with that tight feeling in your chest, already running through the mental checklist of who might need something from you today, who might be upset, what you might have done wrong. Your self-esteem plummets because external validation never satisfies the deep hunger for self-acceptance. No amount of thank yous or praise fills the void when you don't believe you matter unless you're useful. Emotional exhaustion leaves you feeling like you're operating on fumes, going through motions without genuine connection or joy. Resentment builds as well, though most people don't realize they've become resentful. You start feeling bitter toward the people you're helping, angry at yourself for not speaking up, trapped in a cycle you don't know how to escape. Second is the physical breakdown. Physically, your body revolts. Stress manifests as persistent fatigue that sleep doesn't touch, tension headaches that throb behind your eyes, digestive problems that disrupt your days, heart palpitations that make you wonder if something's seriously wrong, and sleep disorders that leave you exhausted but wired. Your immune system weakens under chronic stress, making you more susceptible to illness. You're constantly getting sick, constantly run down, and you tell yourself it's normal when it absolutely isn't. Third is the relationship destruction. Professionally and socially, boundaries dissolve. People take advantage of your inability to say no, assigning you extra work without compensation, expecting you to cover for others' mistakes, and assuming you'll always be available. You become the person everyone dumps on because you never push back. Authentic relationships become impossible because nobody knows the real you. They only know the accommodating persona you present. You've been so busy being what everyone needs that you've forgotten who you actually are. The people who truly respect you feel frustrated watching you sacrifice yourself, while those who exploit you keep taking. Perhaps most devastating, you lose yourself completely. You can't identify your own interests, values, or desires because you've spent years denying them. Decision-making paralyzes you without external input to guide you. Your life becomes about fulfilling everyone else's agenda, while your dreams languish unattended. But it's not hopeless, because now we're going to tackle the ultimate question. How do you actually stop? Breaking free from self-sacrifice requires deliberate, consistent action, not grand gestures, but small rebellions repeated until new patterns take root. Strategy 1. Rewire your brain through neuroplasticity. Your brain possesses remarkable plasticity, which is the ability to form new neural pathways and reorganize itself throughout your lifetime. Every time you practice a new behavior, you strengthen those neural circuits while weakening old patterns. Repetition is everything. When you consistently set boundaries, prioritize your needs, or practice self-compassion, you're literally reshaping your brain's architecture. Here's how to do it practically. Start each morning with a 5-minute visualization. Close your eyes and mentally rehearse saying no to a request. See yourself staying calm, watch the other person's reaction, and practice accepting that their disappointment isn't your emergency. This activates the same neural circuits as actually performing the behavior, training your brain to respond differently in real situations. Mindfulness meditation also strengthens areas responsible for calm decision-making and weakens anxiety-driven reactivity. Even 10 minutes daily, focusing on your breath, noticing when your mind wanders to what others need, and gently bringing attention back to yourself, builds the mental muscle to prioritize your own well-being. This isn't abstract spirituality, it's neuroscience. Your brain strengthens what it repeats, not what it briefly touches. There are simple tools that can support this rewiring. For instance, a basic gratitude journal, something like the 5-minute journal or any structured daily reflection notebook, trains your brain to recognize your own progress instead of waiting for external validation. 5 minutes, morning and night, that's it. The consistency matters more than the perfection. Strategy 2. Set boundaries like your life depends on it. Boundaries aren't walls or selfishness. They're the architecture of healthy relationships and stable identity. They define where you end and others begin, protecting your emotional, mental, and physical space. Here's the step-by-step process. Step 1. Identify your limits. What drains you? What situations leave you resentful? What behaviors from others cross your comfort line? Write these down with brutal honesty. For example, I will not answer work calls after 7 p.m. I will not lend money to people who haven't repaid previous loans. I will not be the only person planning family gatherings. Step 2. Communicate clearly using I statements. Instead of, you always make me stay late, say, I need to leave work at 6 p.m. to maintain my well-being. Instead of "you never appreciate me," say "I need verbal acknowledgement when I help you." Here are actual scripts you can use. "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm not available for that. I can't take that on right now. My plate is full. That doesn't work for me, but I hope you find someone who can help. I need to check my schedule and get back to you." Then actually check if you want to do it, not just if you can. Step 3. Expect pushback and hold firm. People accustomed to your boundaryless accommodation will resist when you start protecting yourself. They might guilt trip you by saying things like, "I thought I could count on you," or manipulate you with, "It's just this one time," or get angry at you and say something like, "You're so selfish now." Here, you use the broken record technique. This means you repeat your boundary calmly without justifying, explaining, or apologizing excessively. For example, when they say, "Can you cover my shift Saturday?" you say, "I'm not available Saturday." When they say, "But I really need this, you helped last time," you say, "I understand and I'm not available Saturday." Then they say, "Come on, just this once?" You say, "I'm not available Saturday." No justification, no over-explaining, just calm repetition. Step 4. Start small. Practice with low-stakes situations first. Decline a minor request from a coworker about when you're available to text, or say no to a social invitation you don't actually want to attend. As you experience that the world doesn't end when you prioritize yourself, confidence builds to tackle harder boundaries. Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend's book, Boundaries, is the gold standard here. It gives you actual language and frameworks for setting boundaries in relationships, work, and even with yourself. If you want something more hands-on, Nendra Glover Talwa's Set Boundaries, Find Peace includes worksheets and exercises you can work through step by step. Strategy 3. Learn to say no and manage the guilt. Here's the reality. About 45% of people struggle with saying no, and this difficulty directly impacts their ability to set boundaries. And about 73% of people avoid difficult conversations about boundaries due to fear of conflict. However, here's what you need to know. The word no is a complete sentence, full stop. No justification, explanation, or apology required. Here's your action plan. Week 1, start practicing in situations with minimal consequences. Decline a text request. Say no to optional plans. Your confidence will build incrementally. Week 2 to 3, when someone asks something of you, use this phrase, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This buys you space to evaluate honestly whether you want to say yes, not just whether you can. Then ask yourself, if my best friend was in my situation, would I tell them to say yes to this? Often the answer is no. Week 4 plus, practice saying no in person using these templates. "I wish I could help, but I can't right now." Or, "That sounds important and it's not something I can take on." Or, "I'm focusing on other priorities right now." Or simply, "No, I can't do that." But you have another question. How do you manage the guilt? Because the guilt will come. Your inner critic will scream that you're selfish, that you're letting people down, that they'll abandon you. Recognize this voice as the echo of your conditioning, not truth. Reframe it with these statements. "My well-being matters just as much as theirs," or "I can't pour from an empty cup." Saying no preserves my ability to show up authentically for what truly matters. Or even better, say their disappointment is not my responsibility to fix. Remember, saying no to extra work means saying yes to time with your family, to your creative projects, to rest your body desperately needs.
Strategy 4. Build internal validation. External validation is quicksand. The more you chase it, the deeper you sink. The antidote is cultivating internal validation, is knowing your worth regardless of others' opinions. Here are some action steps. Number 1. Identify activities that make you feel good independently. Engage in things that make you feel capable, joyful, or proud without requiring anyone's approval. Maybe it's painting, running, cooking, learning an instrument, or mastering a skill. The point isn't perfection, but experiencing competence and pleasure independent of external feedback. Number 2, practice radical self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness you automatically extend to others. When you notice yourself being harsh internally, pause and ask, Would I speak this way to a friend struggling with the same situation? If not, soften your self-talk. Example, instead of, I'm so stupid for saying yes again, try, I'm learning new patterns. It takes time, and I'm making progress. Number 3, challenge the core belief. The belief that your value depends on what you do for others is a lie. Your worth is intrinsic, not earned through service. Write this down and read it daily. I am valuable because I exist, not because of what I provide to others. Number 4, celebrate your own wins. Keep a daily log of moments you prioritized yourself, no matter how small. Said no to something? Write it down. Stated a preference? Document it. Didn't apologize for something that wasn't your fault? That counts. You're training your brain to value your own progress. Small physical reminders help too. Some people keep affirmation cards on their desk or nightstand, daily reminders that they matter, that their needs are valid. Others use a simple wellness planner to track when they actually prioritize themselves, making the invisible visible. Strategy 5. Use cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. CBT targets the automatic thoughts fueling people-pleasing, like, if I say no, they'll leave me, or I'm only valuable when I'm useful, or I don't like conflict. These beliefs feel like facts, but are not. Here's the cognitive behavioral therapy process. Step 1. Identify the automatic thought. When you feel compelled to say yes, pause and notice the thought behind it. Write it down. Step 2. Question it. Ask, what evidence do I have that this is true? What evidence contradicts it? Step 3. Replace with accurate thought. If she stops caring about me because I set one boundary, she wasn't a genuine friend. Real relationships survive healthy limits. Step 4. Tests the belief. Actually say no and observe the outcome. Most of the catastrophes we imagine never happen. Testing beliefs against actual outcomes rather than catastrophic assumptions weakens their grip. Strategy 6. Develop assertiveness skills. Assertiveness is the balance between passivity, suppressing your needs, and aggression, trampling others' needs. It's expressing your truth respectfully while respecting others' right to their truth. Here are assertiveness fundamentals. First is your body language. Stand or sit upright. Maintain appropriate eye contact. Face the speaker directly. Your physical presence communicates that you take yourself seriously. Second is your tone of voice. Speak calmly and steadily. Not apologetic, not aggressive. Neutral and firm. This is the language patterns. Use I statements. I need. I feel. I've decided. Not, maybe I could, I'm sorry but, or if it's okay with you. Role-playing also builds confidence. Practice difficult conversations with a therapist or trusted friend. Your nervous system learns that expressing your needs doesn't result in catastrophe, gradually reducing the anxiety that accompanies self-advocacy. Strategy 7. Make self-care non-negotiable. Self-care isn't just bubble baths and face masks. It's treating your needs with the same urgency you treat everyone else's. It means sleeping enough, eating properly, attending medical appointments, engaging in activities that restore rather than deplete you, and saying no to protect your energy reserves. Here's how to do it. First, schedule self-care like appointments. Block time on your calendar for rest, hobbies, exercise, therapy, or whatever replenishes you. Treat these with the same respect you'd give external obligations. Don't cancel on yourself to accommodate others. Second, create physical comfort. Your body is under siege from chronic stress. Sometimes self-care looks like physical comfort, like a weighted blanket that actually calms your nervous system when anxiety spikes. Blackout curtains or a good sleep mask so you can finally rest properly. Even aromatherapy if scents help ground you. These aren't luxuries, they're tools for a body and mind under siege. Third, practice the oxygen mask principle. You cannot sustain caregiving, work performance, or relationships from an empty tank. The expression, put on your own oxygen mask first, isn't selfish, it's survival. Strategy 8. Get professional support. Recovery from entrenched people-pleasing patterns is exponentially more effective with professional support and community. Individual therapy provides personalized strategies for your specific history and challenges. Group therapy or support groups like Codependence Anonymous, CODA, offer accountability, shared experience, and real-time practice asking for help, something people-pleasers find nearly impossible. Research shows combining individual and group therapy yields up to 70% higher success rates than individual therapy alone. The community mirrors healthy relationship dynamics, providing safety to risk new behaviors without judgment. Which brings us to our conclusion. Your life is waiting for you to start living it. Here's what changes when you stop sacrificing yourself. The people worth keeping will respect your boundaries. The ones who throw tantrums when you prioritize yourself were never your people. They were consumers of your energy, and you were so starved for connection that you mistook being used for being loved. Let's be clear about what happens when you start choosing yourself. Some people will be uncomfortable. They'll call you selfish. They'll guilt trip you. They'll wonder what happened to the version of you that never caused problems. Good, let them wonder, because that version of you was disappearing, and the real you deserves to exist. The recovery process will unfold in stages. First comes awareness, recognizing the pattern and beginning to interrupt it. You're in that stage right now, and that's significant. The middle stage involves actively practicing boundaries, self-care, and assertiveness while working through discomfort. It won't feel natural at first. You'll feel guilty. You'll second-guess yourself. You'll want to retreat to the safety of people-pleasing. Don't. Keep going. The late stage brings maintenance as new patterns solidify and healthy behaviors become your natural default. One day, you'll realize you said no without spiraling into anxiety. You'll notice people respecting you more, not less. You'll feel lighter because you're not carrying everyone's emotional baggage anymore. Recovery requires patience and ongoing commitment, but the alternative, continuing to sacrifice yourself, is no longer sustainable. Here's your action plan for the next 7 days. Day 1. Write down 3 boundaries you need to set. Just write them. Don't act yet. Days 2 through 3. Practice saying, "Let me get back to you," instead of immediately saying yes to requests. Day 4. Say no to one small thing. Observe what happens. Spoiler, you'll probably survive it. Days 5 through 6, when you notice guilt, write down the automatic thought fueling it. Question it. Replace it. Day 7, review your week. Celebrate every single moment you chose yourself, no matter how tiny. Stop waiting for permission to value yourself. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop shrinking so others can expand. Your needs matter. Now, this is the hard part, and even I can't fathom why, because it should be the easiest. The fact that the choice is yours. You can keep living for everyone else's comfort while you disappear, or you can start choosing yourself. Messy, imperfect, but finally, authentically you. What's it gonna be? If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. You can also drop a comment and let me know which behavior hit home the hardest for you. You're not alone in this, and you absolutely can change these patterns. Remember, saying no to others sometimes means finally saying yes to yourself. So choose you.